Hello, welcome to the channel. This particular channel is for owners of compact 6-meter Fiat Ducatos, and one of the advantages of that is that you can park it in any standard parking lot in Australia. And so having a rear parking sensor is really a great feature so that you can reverse safely and bring the vehicle just about a foot or 300 millimeters away from the next car. So before I get on with the details on how I did my install, let me just mention that if you're watching this video in order to see how the electrical connection was made to the reversing light, then you're watching the wrong video. I've done another video on how to install a beeper as you reverse. So the link for that video will be located in the video description. So just go ahead to that if that's what you were really after. Let me begin with the end result. I'm quite happy with the product. It's only $20, by the way, from eBay. I've located the 4 sensors on the rear bumper. I've located the control box underneath the vehicle close to the spare tire. And I've run the beeper display unit into the driver's cabin, located to the right of the driver's seat. That way I'm able to see it and hear it quite well. So let me begin by the unboxing. So the unit came through eBay, came by mail, and it's made out of 3 main things. The first is the 4 parking sensors, which go into the bumper. The second component would be the controller unit, the central junction box, and the third part is the beeper with the LED display, and all of that connects to the battery through a cable that they've supplied. So I'll break up this video into 4 parts. Part 1 will be the install of the 4 sensors. Part 2 will be the location of the control box underneath the van, near to the spare tire. I won't be covering power connections because, as I said, it's in the description below from another video. And I'll cover how I ran it to the driver's cabin. Starting off with the install into the rear bumpers. In this case, because the rear bumpers are made of plastic, I was able to use the hole saw that was provided in the kit when you buy it. So for $20, not only do you get the rear parking sensors, you also get the drill to make the holes just nice for the sensors. So the first thing you'll have to do is remove the plastic part of the bumper, and they're held in by about 8 Torx screws. I think about 4 on top and another 4 underneath. They're pretty easy to see. You'll just need a Torx screwdriver and you can just manually undo them. The rubber part comes off quite easily. When you've removed that, you'll see that it covers a metal bumper, and the metal bumper fortunately has rectangular openings. So what you've got to do is drill through the plastic just nicely to match up with where the holes are. And to do this, I used the screws. I've just placed the screws in a manner that I'm confident as I drill through. One word of warning: the drilling that I did for the extreme left side, I did go a little bit too far to the left. So if you're doing this, just take a little bit of extra care with that left side, the leftmost sensor. Make sure that you create the hole properly, otherwise you'll have to make adjustments. After having drilled the 4 holes, go ahead and snake through the cables and insert the sensors into the bumper, being careful to align them in the way indicated on the sensor. There's an up arrow, so make sure the arrow is pointing upwards when the bumper is fitted back. And another tip in this install is to be pretty neat with your cables. So try and get your cables in quite neatly so that you don't get confused later on with the order of the sensors. Now here's another important tip. And by the way, if this video is useful for you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. But anyway, another very useful tip is when you are wondering which sensor to place where, what you do is you stand behind your van and it'll be in reverse order. So on your left hand side will be D, and on your rightmost sensor will be A, if that makes sense. So go ahead and connect the cables to your central control box, and now you've got a find a spot to hide your control box and in a weatherproof manner. So for this, I just used a little plastic circular like food container. And what I did was I drilled a hole at the side, so I was able to run the cables in. And then I secured the plastic food container to the underside of the van. And I made sure, of course, that I used silicone to make sure that it was well secured and that no water could enter the container. So after I've replaced the bumper, I made the connection to power, which will be covered by a different video, as I was saying. And then I just ran the cable from the controller to the beeper LED unit by just tying it onto things underneath the van using plastic ties. So I just made sure none of that was sticking out, and I ran it to the front all the way to the driver's side. In the driver's side underneath the vehicle, fortunately, Fiat already have like a rubber grommet there, and I've actually used that before when I did my install for the rear parking camera. So if you want more detail about where this exactly is located, you can watch the other video which shows my install of the rear view camera. So anyway, I just used the same entry point, and I suppose the most troublesome part of this project is to remove all of the black plastic fittings around the doorstep on the driver's side. So quite a number of screws. Again, these have been covered in previous videos, you know, all the screws that you have to do. These are Phillips head screws, by the way. And I think it's a total of 1, 2, 3 panels on the floor, but you also need to remove the panel on the side of the seat in order to be able to take those 3 panels out. So anyway, once they were all out, it's just a matter of running the cable through and then putting all the plastic bits back together again. And used a bit of 3M double-sided adhesive tape to secure the display to the side of the bottom part of the driver's seat. So from where I'm sitting, I can just turn around a little bit, look down, and I'm able to see the sensor, and I'm definitely able to hear it very clearly. So I do hope that this video has been useful for you and has encouraged you to install the sensors, because it is very, very useful. It is one of the most useful things I think I've done for the van. A couple of things which weren't great, but this one's been a really useful feature. Certainly a lot more useful than the front parking sensors that I did on the bull bar. So I do hope that this has been helpful. Thank you for joining me, and please don't forget to click like and subscribe. See you next time.